And good afternoon, Allied Nation. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Allied Live. I'm your host, Rachel Kelmer, and I'm joined by two awesome people from our credentialing department. But before I introduce them, let me go over some housekeeping items. If you are tuning in, please drop your questions and comments into our chat, and we will get to them as soon as possible. And also, don't forget to check out our AMN Passport app and website for our latest and greatest jobs, as well as to get connected to a recruiter if you have not been connected already. You can also check us out at AMN Allied on the Instagram. And we still have our blog contest going on. You can visit amnhealthcare.com for more details. But just to give you a little rundown there, it is for the Allied and Nursing brands. Anyone who has worked for AMN or is currently on assignment with us, each clinician can submit up to 5 blogs per month. If your blog is chosen to be published on our website, you will receive a $200 gift card, and every person who submits a blog will be entered into a larger prize of a $2,500 gift card. And this ends March 31st. So we still got a whole month. Well, yeah, it's a whole month. I was going to say a little bit more, but we're at the end of February. Whew. All right. So without further ado, now that the housekeeping items are done, let me introduce you to my special guest. Let's start off with you, Chris. Introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Chris Latham. I'm a credentialing supervisor, and I've been with AMN for about 3.5 years. I have altogether about 10 years of credentialing experience, and I'm looking forward to sharing some good information this afternoon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chris, for joining us. And now, Osaya, tell us about you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Osaya. I'm a credentialing analyst here at AMN. I've been a credentialing analyst here for a little over 2 years. And prior to that, I was a behavior therapist, one of the healthcare professionals.
There you go. Somebody on the inside knows the scoops on the outside, right? So credentialing, right? There's always this misnomer that it's just like nuts and intimidating, as Stanton put it in the comments. So first, the process starts. You get hooked up with a recruiter. We build your profile, submit out to jobs. Of course, this is very basic steps. You submit out to jobs, and you end up getting an offer and accepting an assignment. So what comes next? Credentialing. So now, without further ado, let's get into the details. All right, so this first question goes to you, Chris. What are the goals during the credentialing process?
Great question. Thank you. Really, the goal of our whole credentialing team is to make the credentialing process as seamless and easy as possible for our travelers. That includes, providing outstanding customer service. We're a big team. Our allied team is about 50 individuals altogether. And each of our credentialing analysts is simultaneously working with an average of about 15 to 20 different clinicians for their compliance and credentialing process. But really, again, the bottom line is our goal is just to provide good service to the traveler and help them through the process so that we can get them started on time for their new assignment and fully compliant.
Yes, definitely fully compliant. All right. And next question to you, Osaya. What does the beginning process of getting credentialed look like? So the healthcare professional accepted an assignment. What's next?
Right. So after you guys accept your assignment, we'll reach out within 1 to 2 business days just to go over any compliance. We'll send out an initial email to you guys, and then we try to get you on the phone initially. This is where you guys can go over any questions or concerns that you guys have. We can go over if you have any vacations planned, so that way we can kind of work around those type of things. No big deal. You can let us know if you prefer text, email, or if you prefer us getting on the phone with you. We definitely can do that. Typically, we'll be collecting 5 main types of credentialing items. So we'll collect a background check, I-9, and any supporting documents, medical requirements. We'll try to make sure it's as convenient as possible for you guys using our preferred vendors. We'll reach out for written requirements. So these are things that we send out and also receive. So anything like licenses, certifications, anything like that. And then there may be some online knowledge testing for you guys. and we'll typically outline them pretty organized, so that way you guys can use that initial email as like a checklist. Super helpful. And your credentialing analyst will assign you some deadlines, and it's super important to adhere to the deadlines. This is set up by us just to assist you guys. We want to help you manage your time. That way, you get on assignment quickly. We'll typically make sure that there's some room prior to the facility's deadline, just for any last minute issues that you may have. And back to you, Rachel.
Awesome. Thank you, Osaya. Back to you in the studio, right? All right. So, yes, that does all seem very overwhelming, but the further we go through this live, we'll find out it's not so bad after all. So the next question to you, Chris, are requirements generally the same across the board, facility to facility and across states, or do they vary? What goes on there?
Well, they can vary quite a bit. And so, your analyst, when you accept your assignment, your analyst will look at the specific facility requirements, meaning the hospital or clinic where you're going to work. They provide us with information on what compliance they require. And then we also have to achieve full compliance to state requirements and also AMN. AMN has a minimum standard requirements as well. So when we combine all of those together for your one particular assignment, it's really important that we achieve full compliance towards the facility, the state, and AMN requirements, all three. Your assigned CA for any particular assignment is really the expert for that particular facility, that client of ours. And so your assigned CA can vary from assignment to assignment. But just know that, they're there to help you and they best understand that particular hospital's requirements, and they're there to help you navigate through that.
Perfect. Yeah. So it's not going to be the same across the board. So,
right.
Certain states do have certain requirements, and again, facility to facility, it could differ as well. So always keep that in mind when you're going into the credentialing phase, that even though you're currently on assignment and are scheduled for your next assignment, their credentialing requirements could differ, and you might need to just do a little bit extra just to be compliant for that next assignment. All right. So while we're talking about licensures and certifications, the next question is to you, Osaya. Are there certain preferred certifications for healthcare professionals?
Definitely. I would say for BLS, NRP, PALS, I would say the AHA, American Heart Association, BLS, is definitely the most widely accepted for different states, facilities, and AMM requirements. I always tell my healthcare professionals to, make sure they get that AHA, American Heart Association certification. And also just make sure that when you're taking the course that you're looking for an in-person skills portion. That's super important.
Yeah, I love that. And don't forget, guys, so credentialing analysts are here to help you. If you're having trouble locating a class, they can help you. That is what they're there for. Literally, reach out to them with questions. Don't be shy. They're going to become your best friend during that couple-week period before you start your assignment. All right. So here's a really good question to you, Chris. What are some best practices for a healthcare professional to prepare for the credentialing phase?
Really, the best advice I can give there is to keep a portfolio of all your important documents. That can vary anywhere from, copies of your license, like a wallet card or a wall certificate, to, your passport, all of those different items. Keep them in one place so that they're easily accessible. It's not unheard of at the last minute. We've sent over all the documents that the facility has said that they want to have on hand, and you're traveling, and then they say, oh, we need one more thing. And so it's really best to try and keep an active portfolio of all your updated credentials, licenses, any kind of diploma, transcript certifications, national certifications. For any of our non-licensed clinicians, it is AMN's general policy that we have either an approved vetted national certification on file or verification of your skill set education. So all of those kinds of documents and keeping them together and easily accessible again is really the best thing that you can do to be prepared.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I know certain travelers, like they'll have a folder or file specifically just for their credentialing items. And then they have a file for each one of their assignments to keep everything organized, receipts and contracts and all of that. So the more organized you are going into this process in terms of having all of your medical records and your personal documents ready, it's going to be a lot smoother of a process for you. So thank you so much for sharing that. Cause like those little FileFlex numbers where you just open up and it's like 12 little inserts in there. I love those. For my own personal, I have like HOA, mortgage, it's good. So good to practice organization there. And don't forget, guys, keep dropping those questions and comments in chat because we are going to be getting to those detailed questions shortly. So hang tight. Now, Osaya, same question to you. What are your best tips and tricks for success? And how can someone prepare for certain challenges that may arise during the credentialing period?
I would say number one is definitely pay attention to the deadlines. We set those to help you guys out. They're definitely a tool. That way, you're not stressed out super close to the assignment. You get things done. You're clear early. We love that, when a clinician is cleared to start a week early from their assignment so they can, take time to relax before starting. And then having that portfolio is so important. I would say, if you have it, send it in. You might have a Tdap vaccination and it's not needed for this assignment. However, we want you to stay with AMN, so it might be needed for another assignment. So send it in if you have it. We'll index it for you. No big deal. Now it's on file. So, keep that portfolio and just send it in to us. No problem. Definitely feel free to reach out to your credentialing analyst in all forms of communication. You can text us all day, send us emails, call us. We're here to help you. And definitely also set time aside to get things done. I know sometimes it can be challenging with you guys and your busy schedules, but setting time aside that, for your compliance is super important. These things do not take that long, especially the written requirements. So your background check, you can get that done in 5 minutes, your authorization form, sending in your license and certifications immediately. No problem, right? Signing those documents, get those done. So that way, when you're close to your assignment, you have that freedom to do what you want prior. And then use the checklist that your credentialing analyst sets you out as an aid. Some of my healthcare professionals, they will print off the email and then use it as a checklist. So you're crossing things off as you do them. So you're not like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And then, yeah. And then also if you do complete them as they come, the emails won't kind of get bogged down by all the different other ones that you're getting. So that's also helpful. Using AMN Passport as a tool while you're on assignment is awesome. It's going to tell you when you're needing things. It could say, I have a BLS that's needed. It expires the end of next month. And so you can always access that. You can even use it to upload those items. And, if you're not a fan of that, send it over to your credentialing analyst and we'll get that index into your facility. And I would say also, take it easy. Don't freak out. We're here to help. Most issues we can get around. We've seen it, been there, done that. No problem. You're not bothering us at all. That's what I would say.
Perfect. I love that. Yeah. I mean, the communication piece between you as the healthcare professional and your credentialing analyst, as well as your recruiter, is so crucial to having a start of a successful assignment. So when that first email comes to you all, make sure you save that email address because like Osaya said, if something is coming up expiring, It will come up in Passport to say expired, but our credentialing analysts also do an amazing job with following up saying like, hey, your driver's license is expiring, so even things like that, not necessarily just certifications or licensure, but your driver's license. Hey, personal life check, get your driver's license renewed. So, I mean, it's really great. But my point is to make sure that their email is not going to your junk folder, because we know how Gmail can be. I love my Gmail account, but I feel like everything goes to the junk folder. So, which, I mean, for the most part, that's a good thing. But when it comes to credentialing, so emails from credentialing, text messages from credentialing, you want to make sure, none of that is getting thrown into a junk folder somewhere. So you have that constant communication coming through. All right. So last question. You guys ready? All right. This goes to Chris. Now everything is completed. What's next?
Well, what's next is that you'll receive final clearance for your assignment from your credentialing analyst. It's really, really important that that comes from your analyst, because it might be that you're starting to communicate with your new department manager. They might say, oh, you're cleared, come on in Monday. But if you haven't heard that from your credentialing analyst, it's really important that you take that step back and make sure that you're clear from an AMN facility and state compliance standpoint. So again, like Rachel said, it's just really good communication with your credentialing analyst is really going to be most helpful for you to have a successful onboarding experience. And our goal, again, is just to get you started on time every time. So, sometimes there are some unforeseen delays that can happen. But the sooner you start working on your compliance, the better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those first day, like getting the all clear email is probably like the best feeling after finishing the credentialing process. Cause I mean, I'm not the traveler, but at the same time, I'm like, yes, like this is awesome. And it's just a huge team effort to get somebody fully credentialed for an assignment. It's not just simple, let me turn in my documents and be good to go. It's that constant communication flow, that effort, going in to get your 2-step TB test or whatever the case may be. So the fact that you're able to complete the credentialing process is immensely appreciated, because we know how, well, I'll use it, the word grueling. We know how grueling it can be to get all of those items done. But yes, like Chris said, do not report into your assignment with us until we give you the all clear and the first day reporting instructions. If you show up for work on Monday and we didn't give you the all clear, well, you're not, your assignment hasn't started yet. So you showed up to the workplace for no reason, which is unfortunate. So make sure you always have that all clear, that thumbs up, and first day reporting instructions to go to your assignment. All right, let's hop into, so Stanton, like I said, this stuff always intimidates me. Excited to hear some tips. I hope some of the tips that were dropped into this episode were very helpful. Really, organization and communication are key. And of course, time management. Time management is a huge piece to this, making sure that you are doing everything efficiently and as soon as possible to get that done. So Carla wrote, and I think this is an important topic to touch on, even though, we've discussed some of these items, but why does credentialing take so long? Why can't we do it once a year, especially for us that go from one assignment to the next? And I think this is really good to touch on. So whomever wants to take that one first.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
So there are a number of different compliance requirements that are just needed on an annual basis. And once you complete it one time, it's on file, and it's going to come due, the following year. Like our workplace safety modules is a good example. Those are once a year. A skills checklist, that type of thing. The checklist is important to keep up to date. As you work different assignments, you'll want to make sure that you update any new skills that you may have learned on one of your assignments. But then most every assignment, you're going to have some new compliance requirements, and the longer that you travel, the fewer in between you'll have, things that need to be completed. But for nearly every assignment, you're going to have a new drug screen required, a rescreening on your background. Once we have a background check on file, um, we we rescreen when you return, and we just need to run a new background check on the places where you've resided or been employed from the last time you worked with AMN. So I know some of it can seem kind of redundant. I don't like the word grueling because it really doesn't have to be grueling.
No.
But we do. There are some things that it's necessary to repeat more than once during the year or from assignment to assignment, and that kind of goes back to, mainly if you change states. You're working in a different state. A number of states have very specific requirements of their own, from fingerprints to you might have to have a form notarized and send it to us so we can you're authorizing for us to run a specific background check. Different things like that. There's exclusion checks from different states. So, those things. Some of those things we're doing in the background, but as far as the items that we all wish you could do once a year, it's mainly that it's a facility requirement for the assignment that you're going to.
Right. Even TB tests, some facilities will accept 6 months and some will, or 30 days or, within the past, whatever.
Mhm.
So it can even vary just from one simple credential, from facility to facility, depending on what they are looking for. So,
Yeah, that's a good point, Rachel. And there's when you said 30 days, some requirements are necessary within 30 days of starting your assignment. So if you're booked 45 days out, we can't send you in for a drug screen 45 days out. We have to wait until you go in for the testing within that 30 days of the assignment start. So yeah, thanks for bringing that in too.
yeah. Hey, been doing this for a little bit. Stuck in there, man. So it all just varies. So, Carla, to answer your question, I hope that was more helpful because it does differ from assignment to assignment. So, hopefully, going from your first to your second, it was a little less in terms of the amount that you had to complete. But let's see what's next. How do you get your status changed in AMN system from certified to registered? Well, that's not necessarily for credentialing, but in answer to that question, Smooth the Legend, I think I said that right. So in order to get it, so if you're like, say, a certified respiratory therapist and you want to get it changed to respiratory, you'll just need to send in those updated credentials, even to just your recruiter. And we can get those submitted, and then our file review team can have that updated. So you will be an RRT instead of a CRT, if that's what that is, what you're referring to. But just as an example. Let's see. Oh, Jane, thank you. So Jane said, thank you for going into detail and or sharing specific examples. This is super helpful to understand this process easier. It is. It definitely is. Are you welcome, Smooth? I like saying your name. Keep dropping comments and questions into the chat. We are still here for a little bit longer. Just as a reminder, go ahead and look at that Passport app in all of its glory, as well as the website. New jobs dropping daily as the market is going and flowing week to week. And you can also get connected with a recruiter if you haven't done so already. So anything else you ladies want to add in regards to the credentialing process that we haven't gone over yet? Oh, do you any like stories relevant to making sure that you have, like, let's think about a story where you had a clinician that was like organized, like super type A, organized. How did the credentialing process go for that person?
Typically, when that happens, I'm receiving the documents immediately. Everything's in. DocuSign is signed immediately. Any facility forms that I've sent out, um, they did set time aside for going in for medical. So within 24 to 48 hours, they're already completing that drug screen that's needed. So that process goes really quick. Their I-9 is done. And I know it's a two-part thing, but their I-9 is completed, background check authorization is completed, again, within 24 to 48 hours. That's why setting time aside is so important, I would say. And a lot of you guys kind of have that going, especially when, you continue with AMN.
Yes. Yeah. You stick with us, the process gets a little bit easier assignment to assignment, wink, wink.
I think it's also in respect here too, it's important to let your credentialing analyst know if you're not going to be available. If there's times where, hopefully you're getting some time off in between assignments, maybe you're going to go on a vacation. So it's also important to communicate those kinds of availability or lack of availability, to your analyst as well. It is important that we're, trying to set a realistic start date for your next assignment and have the proper time in between to get all your compliance completed. So, yeah,
And
again, circling back to communication.
Yeah.
definitely, Chris. I would say I've had clinicians that we've been able to work around those type of things. I've had clinicians that specifically one that was completing their medical in Texas, but they had about, I think it was like a week and a half of free time, and they wanted to go see their sister in Tennessee. And so she was kind of like freaking out a little bit, like, oh, am I going to have to find a doctor to complete all of these requirements? And I was like, just no worries. We were able just to switch her to a facility in Tennessee just because it was her downtime. It wasn't like, she was in, abroad. She was here. We were able to set her up in Tennessee, and they had great hours where we sent her. So it was awesome. She was able to get that done and still, get on assignment in time without any changes, which was super awesome. That communication is so important, I would say.
Yes. Oh, and so credentialing. So we need to know your definite zip code of where you're going to be in order to get you credentialed.
Yep.
So if you're going on a vacation and you know the zip code of where you're going on vacation, and you can, pop in and get your drug test while you're on vacation or whatever, make sure we have both of those zip codes and the time frame that you'll be on vacation and the time you'll be at your home location. Setting things up in two different areas, it's okay as long as we get it set up and get those requirements completed.
Yeah.
Okay, Carla, trying to understand. Okay, so what is necessary for a clinician to travel overseas and other okay. Well, we don't handle overseas travel assignments, so we wouldn't be able to answer that. I would assume in terms of, again, this is assumption, so I'm just going off of personal assumptions. But I would assume the medical requirements are pretty much the same. But countries are, state to state is already crazy enough sometimes. So I wouldn't want to predict, what the difference would be country to country. But I'm sure there would be some differences in regards to medical requirements, certain security requirements, maybe. So definitely, something to look into. Good Google search, good deep dive there for sure. But keep dropping those questions and comments in there, guys. We still have a little bit of time left. Chris, I know credentialing supervisor, so you're in the background helping your analysts, but can you think of you're welcome, Carla. Can you think of an answer, brain fart? Can you think of a time when you had more of a challenge credentialing somebody, and what was the reason? Was it communication, or was it, just bad location in terms of what zip code was given or something like that?
Not so much that I would say as not allowing enough time to complete all of the requirements. I know we had one of my team members had a traveler recently that was at the airport and still working on modules that needed to be completed, and wasn't able to finish them even before they got on the plane. So then when they got there, they were still working on modules, and all the way up to the deadlines. So really, best advice there is to allow a proper time.
Okay. Yeah. So for timelines, super important to remember that, you accept an assignment on a Friday and you're starting 2 weeks from the following Monday. So time is of the essence. Because I always see a lot on social medias, like I got my first day instructions the Thursday or Friday before my assignment starts. Well, we're only working with a 2-week period to get you credentialed. So it's always important to remember that, because the time is so minimal, we won't get that final clearance until, usually that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the week before you start, if we're working with that 2-week time period. So the timeline is super essential to remember that we're working with this amount of time for, this amount of credentialing. Because I know it's always like, am I cleared yet? And I'm like, did you finish your credentials yet? So it's always fun process towards the end.
Yeah, and it can be painless, guys. I promise you.
Can,
I have
yes.
a bunch of them that are just super painless.
And just keep in mind too that your credentialing analyst and your recruiter, we're always working together to try to make the process as seamless as possible. So one team, one dream. That's all we can do.
For sure.
Do you ladies have anything else to add?
I would say don't stress, keep organized, and we look to see you and speak with you soon in the future.
Yes, I love that. Chris, any last words?
No, I would just mimic what Osaya said. Yeah.
All right. I love it. Well, again, thank you both so much for joining me today. I hope these tips and tricks and deep dive into the credentialing process helped. Yes, it is intimidating, but it is super exciting because you're about to start your travel assignment. So it's the last final steps before you get to go on your next adventure. Just again, a couple of reminders. Check out our Passport app and website. Also check us out at AMN Allied on Instagram. And as always, thank you all so much for everything you do day in and day out. You healthcare professionals amaze me more and more day to day. So thank you so much for all you do. But as for this afternoon, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.